everybody, I'm Matt Brown, this is John Lambert, and this is the Last Shot Show. We're just two guys talking about sports because we can and we're bored. Just a little thing, thank you to all of the 50 people who watched the show last week.
I don't even know 50 people, so I don't know how that happened.
50 people watched at least the first part of the show last week.
And I'm not even one of them, I never watched it.
And then it went from like 50 to like 8 to 3.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep this shorter, and that's why we have the clock behind us. We're going to attempt to stay within our 10-minute limit here and talk about the sport. Not like PTI, because they don't, we might yell at each other. PTI, they don't do that anymore.
Yes.
So we're going to try to keep within this 10-limit thing, and here's the trick. We're not going to be able to see the clock behind
You will,
us.
America.
You will, but we won't. So we're going to just try to keep within the 10-minute limit here, and from the time I say go, I'm going to hit play on my computer, and then
we'll see who gets the last shot.
We'll see who gets the last shot. Exactly. So, first thing we're going to do is going to talk about looking back at the NFC. First thing we're going to do is talk about the Wildcard weekend last weekend, and looking forward to the Divisional Championship. So, I'm sorry, America. I was wrong. I was 2 and 2 last weekend. I picked the Colts. And then I picked the Redskins. No, wait, I picked the Colts, and then I picked
the Vikings.
The Vikings.
Why in the name of all
I don't know why I
picked
picked the Vikings. So, alright, let's start with the game that we all were watching, because two of them were just blowouts. And, okay, the Green Bay Vikings...
It wasn't much entertainment game
wasn't really that bad. I mean, even the Houston game wasn't so...
That game was nasty.
That was... whatever, but the game that everybody was talking about, the game that everyone will be talking about, is how Seattle went to Washington and totally took them out of their game. Seattle beating the Redskins, and how RG3, Robert Griffin III, is being held up as some sort of hero, or some sort of...
And Shanahan's a villain.
And Shanahan's a villain. Also, on how the field was messed up, whatever on that. So go ahead, John. What do you think?
I've been holding... We made an agreement. We're roommates. We made an agreement not to talk about sports all week.
We're trying not to talk about the show until we do the show.
I have been holding this opinion in all week.
Yeah. That
Robert Griffin III, you are basically the next Michael Vick. You are brittle. You are soft. You run too much. You don't know when to slide. And you can't play through injury, and you're not going to be the hero. You're not going to be Brett Favre with an ankle the size of a cantaloupe. You're not going to be Willis Reed coming into the playoffs on one leg. You're not going to be, and this hurts to say, but it's true, Phillip Rivers playing an AFC Championship game on a torn ACL after he tore the ACL a week later. Everyone wants to vilify Mike Shanahan for keeping RG3 in the game. In my opinion, they say the doctor, he wasn't cleared by a doctor, Mike Shanahan didn't pull him in time. This is the soapbox America is standing on right now. My thing is, I'll pose this question to you. Whose decision really is it for someone to be in a game or not?
Alright, so the decision of who's supposed to be in the game and who's not supposed to be in the game, the first decision automatically should be to the coach. It should be to the coach. But the player takes the decision out of the coach's hands. RG3 wanted to play that game. He wanted to go back and play the rest of that game, and he totally did, and messed up himself. He's jacked. He's going to be out for the next 6 to 8 months now. And everyone's like, oh, RG3 should be held in some sort of thing, and he totally did. And they're blaming Mike Shanahan for the loss.
He came off weak to me.
Alright. I don't think he came off weak. I'll give him I'll give him going and playing the game hurt. I'll give him going and playing the game hurt. But they did have Cousins right there as backup. They did have, I mean, granted, Cousins
don't get me started on that Ravens game, because back like whatever month or two ago, where RG3 played 4 snaps and then took himself out of the game, and Captain Kirk took the Enterprise to victory when RG3 could have had his one shining moment of playing on one leg and winning that game in Baltimore. Nobody criticized Mike Shanahan RG3 for the game against the Eagles, the Cowboys, and it's all revisionist history right now, and everyone's throwing Shanahan under the bus for playing him in a playoff game. I want to throw RG3 under the bus for not finishing that game, even after he did shred his knee, because
he tried to play.
Not after that play. Not after that one play. No, I'm talking playoff game.
Okay.
He walked. First of all, he walked off the field. Second of all, he stood on the sideline. How does Jay Cutler get so much criticism and hate where RG3 doesn't? You just want to give him a hug. And
I don't
want to get lovable.
I agree with you that people hold Jay Cutler to a certain extent, a certain level of, oh, we hate you all the time now, and they're giving RG3 a quote-unquote hug. But Jay Cutler was supposed to be the big thing for the Bears.
And RG3 isn't the big thing.
He was supposed to be the big thing for the. Personally, I think that RG3 is the answer for Washington Redskins. But they kind of did a Steven Strasburg thing. They took him out. They didn't.
I'll give them drafting Kirk Cousins was brilliant because they saw this coming. Kirk Cousins, you just looked at the clock.
I did.
And I can totally see it on the right side, but I'm trying my best not to. Kirk Cousins, to quote Stephen A., is no scrub, but I think RG3 could have had, even though they were down by 10 when his Blake gave out on him, he kind of
flopped. He kind of looked like he flopped for a second, and then like, on the replay it looked.
It looked like he could have had that. I'm staying in the game, and I'm going to try to lead this team. He destroyed his knee. I mean, that post the game, we all know that. Now he had surgery yesterday. His knee is destroyed, but he was still standing on it. He was still walking on it. He was still on the side. I just lost respect for RG3 in that game because Brett Favre tried to finish that game against Saints, and the man couldn't walk. He couldn't put weight on that ankle. Phillip Rivers played a game with a torn ACL a week after he tore it. And Jay Cutler gets lambasted, and I thought that was rightly so because he could walk outside, so I'm going to lambaste RG3. And no one's brought up this point of, they all just want to say Mike Shannon took him out, should have taken him out of the game earlier. That was the wrong thing. No, RG3 should have finished that game. The whole game.
He probably did. Okay. I don't think that. Okay, I agree with you where we hold certain quarterbacks to a double standard. Like okay. we can't give everyone lump everybody together in one big pool and just give everyone the certain amount of respect that everyone is. No one is expecting Washington Redskins to be. No one really expected the Washington Redskins to be good this year.
No.
So they're giving RG3...
But they weren't.
They're putting him on a pedestal. They're putting RG3 on the pedestal for, oh, look at the gift that you've given us by making the playoffs, the first home playoff game since 1999. This is the thing that we're doing. We're holding ourselves on a different scale. People expect the Bears to make the playoffs.
That's true, but
almost every season. That's the thing that I have against Jay Cutler versus RG3. RG3 now next season, RG3 and the Redskins will be held to a certain level of standard.
Well,
this year was their
next year.
But this year was their experimental year.
But did anyone?
RG3 will now be held to a level of like, all right, we know you can get it to the wild card weekend. Let's win 10 games this season. Let's now win 10 games this season.
I mentioned Phillip Rivers playing on a 20, so did anyone expect him to beat the Patriots, who were 18-0 or 17-0 in that game? No. But he played. Because it was not clipboard Jesus playing that game.
Alright, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to talk oh crap. We need to stop looking at the clock. The next thing we're going to do is talk about Divisional Championship weekend. First game we've got coming up. I don't know the order of them, but the first game we got
first game is Ravens at Broncos.
Ravens at Broncos.
I believe.
Okay,
ready? Wrong.
Ravens, Broncos. Okay, we're just going to talk about all of them real quick. We got Ravens at Broncos. Ravens at Broncos. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Broncos.
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 Barely. It's
okay, Ray Lewis, he hates you with a fiery passion of 10,000 suns.
Yes, overrated.
You will end your career and almost get hurt in this game. Almost get hurt. But Ravens can't stop. I don't think the Ravens can stop Peyton Manning. As much as I don't like Peyton Manning.
I just see it being a close game for one. Tomorrow, 17-degree high in Denver. Peyton Manning can't play in the cold. He's an indoor dog. I see this being a 17-16 Broncos victory. Moving on.
Patriots. All right.
Anything else to say?
I really don't.
Okay.
Houston at Patriots. 1, 2, 3.
No,
Patriots.
It'll be closer than everyone thinks, though. I see another 42-14. That ain't gonna happen.
I don't think that's gonna happen either because the example that was brought up with ESPN is like the Jets when they got blown out. And I'm gonna say this. The only nice thing I have to say about the Jets: the first game they played against the Patriots, they got messed.
2 years ago.
This is 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years. They got jacked.
35-3.
And then the next game they played was a lot closer. and a lot more competitive.
They had the anger.
I think that the Texans will have the anger,
yeah.
and Texans they'll show up at Foxborough, but Tom Brady, really? Honestly? When you have one of the, if not the best quarterbacks in the game right now playing for you, you're straight. You're fine. So, anything to say really quick?
I think that'll be a close game. I see 27-17 Patriots. That's all I got.
All right, NFC Seahawks versus the
Falcons. At the Falcons.
At the Falcons. Seahawks take it in an upset.
That's not an upset. I mean, in terms of point spread, it's an upset. But America's picking the Seahawks. I don't know who to pick. This one I've been flip-flopping all week on. Falcons win.
Okay.
That's all I got. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Finally, 49ers at Green Bay. Who we got?
Packers.
Niners.
Why?
Because I want to believe Colin. I want to believe that he will beat Aaron Rodgers. I want to believe that the Niners will finally go back to a thing of glory and totally take the wind out of the sails.
That clock is running out.
It is.
And you're
out.
blatantly looking. It didn't beep.
It didn't.
That's disappointing, America.
Yeah.
Anywho, we gotta wrap this up then.
So I totally think that the Niners will win. What do you think? Leave us some comments below. Like, favorite this video if you like.
Packers have better quarterbacks. All I have to say.
Okay.
That's my.
And according to your girlfriend, better looking. We'll see you in the next part of our video where we talk about the Lakers.
What?